By my culture dwelling in America for a documented 400 plus years, you would think we would be rich in history and it would be easy for me as an adult with secondary education to clearly identify who I am, where I come from, and who my ancestors are. But that isn't the case. Through an Afro-centered communal education and secondary education, I've learned that what we are to learn in American history is just his story and one version of my culture. Through a communal education and upbringing, I've learned that my ancestors have traveled to the Americas way before what was documented in 1619, and that I'm connected to a bloodline of people who are kings and queens and educated, strong, and a powerful people, not a diseased people. That is why, as an adult, I identify as an African in America and an African American. Being captured by Europeans in America and taken through the Middle Passage on ships, being sold and scattered across the Americas, losing original language, religion, and family, among many other values and traditions, and taking on a dominant culture's way of living. My culture may be disconnected, but it is not lost. My story as I know it picks back up in Mississippi and Tulsa, Oklahoma. My paternal great-grandparents and grandparents were both raised in Mississippi, and my maternal great-grandparents and grandparents and mother were all born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Both families were enriched with foods, dance, music, religion, family, and extended family and nature. Both families also had full bloodlines of Choctaw and Cherokee Native Americans in our family lineage. Education has always been one of the key elements, not only in the family, but in our African American community. In the 1960s, my maternal and paternal immediate families traveled to California for better opportunity. California is where my parents met in elementary school and remained friends throughout high school, college, and into their adult years. My father attended Stanford University, and my mother attended Cal State University in Northridge, which was then called San Fernando Valley State College. For my mother, the university is where she found her voice and her purpose. In the height of civil rights and justice, she became a leader and activist in fighting for equal rights for all students and people, no matter the race. She and her colleagues were also key figures in helping to form the Pan-African Studies Department, and it didn't stop there. She and her colleagues dropped their slave names and adopted African names. She traded in American clothes for African garb. She was a part of different community organizations like Folk Power and those in Leimert Park. She made sure her children had an African Center Foundation, attending her professor's school, Marcus Garvey. And she always made sure that we gave back to our community, had an appreciation for the arts and literature, remained connected with our non-blood family, and always knew our Black was beautiful no matter the shade, because there would be people who told us we weren't. My father's family passed down a love for instruments, recipes like gumbo, hot water cornbread, greens, and black-eyed peas, home remedies, hearty laughs, and to always honor and respect your elders. Together, both of my families have further helped define my cultural identity as an African in America and an African American. One powerful tool I was given was to seek knowledge for self, and by doing so, I've learned how connected to Africa we are. We may not know exactly where our descendants come from, but learning about Africa as a people, we embody many of the same qualities they do, like with the foods, dance, and even the importance of family, value, the strength of family and friends, as well as connecting to the strength of slave ancestors who held on to whatever hope they could to help our culture survive. Now I am able to pass on that culture and that understanding of my history to my daughter so she can too pass it on to her children. African Americans are not a lost people. Instead, we are like a quilt waiting for the next person to sew on their journey. For Africa to me is more than a glamorous fact. It is a historical truth. No man can know where he is going unless he knows exactly where he has been and exactly how he arrived at his present place. Maya Angelou.